What's going on, everybody? If you're new to my channel and you just clicked on this video and you're looking at this and you're freaking out because it's like, what the hell? He buffed Chien-Pao. It has more attack. It has fuck wicked blow. What is going on? Ceaseless edge. Oh, swiftness. If you're a competitively it's immune to priority. If you're a competitively brained or minded player, or if you're approaching this from a competitive point of view, yeah, this probably isn't, close combat. Oh my god. Anybody who is new here, I want you to keep in mind that this is a ROM hack. All right, this is balanced around in-game use. Not to mention these are legendaries, right? So they're going to be at the end of the game. Obviously, this is very strong, but in the context of this ROM hack, it fits right in. There are other Pokemon who are this strong. Although I will say Chien-Pao is actually uniquely a bit broken versus AI for specific reasons that I'll get into later. But it's not just because of the raw stat numbers or the raw, move pool or anything like that. That's all, like fucking Weavile, for example, even will be slower and weaker, but have Ruthless as one of its abilities. To where it's actually physically, it's for example, it's Icebreaker and it's Wicked Blow and Ceaseless Edge and all this. Actually, I won't get Ceaseless Edge because it doesn't have an actual blade, but it's Icebreaker and Wicked Blow, for example, will be dealing more damage than Sword of Ruin Chien-Pao because it's a 50% boost as opposed to a 25. You get the idea. Point is, this kind of thing is like not that insane by this ROM hack standards. It's still great. Don't get it twisted. I mean, yes, he's very fast. Yes, he's very strong. Yes, he has good move pool. But it all blends together in the context of this hack. Speaking of, if you are new here, pause the video and give the description a read. It'll give you some better insight and context as to how this ROM hack works and why it's balanced the way it is. So that'll answer some of your questions as well. Yeah, so I like to give every single Pokemon 3 cool abilities that they can cycle between that make sense for the Pokemon to have and are worth using over one another. The game is also balanced around Teamlocked, whatever, so again, read about that in the description, but the point is for your Pokemon to be much more versatile than they already are. So for example, Chien-Pao is a lot more than just click button kill Pokemon. Obviously, it still does that, of course. I mean, that's what it is, what he is at the end of the day. But his other abilities provide him a lot of utility, and his other moves provide him a lot of utility. So again, any like singles or VTC players you're seeing, parting shot, ceaseless edge, what the Chien-Pao, immune, you're probably absolutely losing it. But and just the fact that he's stronger, because he doesn't actually, in a competitive sense, he does not need that attack boost whatsoever. He's already broken in a competitive sense. But again, it's a completely different balancing system when it's an in-game ROM hack. You can control what the player has, you can control what the AI has, what moves they get, what levels they get those moves. It's a completely different experience, and isn't really comparable at all. So yeah, a lot of these videos that are coming up are going to be like scary for competitively brained people just looking at it off rip. So I'm not going to dwell on it too long because they're all going to be like this. But that's just the gist of it. As for the actual mechanics for in-game use, again, in-game use is like Snow Warning is great for switching to for that defensive boost because you're already strong. You're not always going to need that sort of ruin boost. Obviously, it's good. For example, some people might be watching this and knowing my ROM hacks and thinking, well, why didn't you give it sharpness? That fits so well. Mr. Doos, how come no sharpness? And the answer for that is because it's just not. It's not even that it's bad. It's actually good. It's just really fucking boring in conjunction with Sword of Ruin. Sword of Ruin is the exact same thing conceptually in terms of like a sword boosting ability, and then it's like I don't know, what's the point, man? Like, yeah, you get even stronger boost on specific moves, but like I'd rather have actual useful utility on my other ability slots because you already have the one slot wasted on, not wasted, but being spent, I guess, on damage boost, right? So swiftness, incredible utility, you're immune to priority. There are tons and tons of new priority moves in this game. You can check all of those out on the move guide if you click here and then click here, and also just go to the move guide in general and you have all these categories of moves. It'll take you to all these sections. Again, check all that out after you're done with the video if you haven't already. Don't click off now because it'll mess up the watch time, but yeah, you could check all the stuff out. You got tons of priority moves that you're immune to. AI won't be using them as often late game, but I'll have to see as time goes on. It'll be common enough. It's definitely useful to switch to, which is why it's nice to have the freedom to switch your abilities. I would say more often than not, you might be running Snow Warning for that defense boost because 90, 80, 80 bulk is really, really good with Snow Warning with that 50% defense boost. I mean, this guy takes hits, right? Not to mention Ice Dark, although traditionally considered a bad defensive typing in a competitive sense, actually has some really good resistances to take advantage of in an in-game sense. So you resist Ice, Ghost, and Dark, and you're immune to Psychic. So being able to extra resist those Ice, Dark, and Ghost moves is super, super nice on the physical side with Snow Warning. You can also set up Veil if you want to. I mean, it is very fast, and you can like parting shot out, so that's great team support as well. Although, of course, keep in mind you can be crit through Veil, so not the most safe way of playing, but for certain matchups on Teamlocked, you can still definitely take advantage of that. Parting Shot I gave to all of these Treasures of Ruin just for flavor reasons, given that they're like these embodiments of like resentment and negative emotions and stuff. In this case, he also has some cute moves like Wallop and Play Rough and shit, because the dex also describes him as innocently playing around by leaping in and out of avalanches it's caused, so it is kind of almost like clueless of the destruction it's causing in some ways, although you can argue it's also still kind of malicious because it's like, it's embodied by the hatred of those who perished by the sword. So like it's kind of contradictory there, but again, that's why he has like mean moves and also nice cute moves. That's also why he has like Charm, for example, which is also very good considering the fact that they're fast and very physically tanky. Again, 90 80 80, even 90 80 on its own is like tanky with investment, let alone with the defense boost from Snow Warning. So that's all great. You've got tons of coverage moves now with I mean, Ice Dark's already very good dual step, obviously, and at the very, very end of the game, you get Icebreaker, Wicked Blow, which are two incredible moves that the drawback is, and Brutal Blade as well. The downside of these is supposed to be that you can't click them twice in a row, which is really good for like nerfing Choice Scarf spam with those moves. But on something that's this fast, and when you get dual stab with it, you can just alternate between the two, right? Like Icebreaker, kill one thing, Wicked Blow, kill the next. In theory, that could work depending on the matchup. And then, of course, with Swiftness, you're immune to priority, so the only thing that's checking you at that point is something that's faster than you, which you aren't guaranteed max IVs or a plus speed nature, so there will be things that outspeed you versus the AI. Not always, but a lot of the time, unless you get a lucky nature or lucky IVs. But actually, no, the IVs for now are just going to be preset at 20, but for the eggs. So that's inherently going to like put you at a disadvantage in terms of speed, which is good for balancing. But yeah, nature can save you. But even 135, 20 IVs, I mean, you're still... I can actually, matter of fact, I'll check right now what that outspeeds on the AI. Because the AI is always going to have 31, and then if they're fast, they'll have plus speed, right? So 135 with 20 is hitting 358, so that's like 112? 113. Yeah, you're outspeeding 113 still on AI, which is still like very fast, right? Because the AI isn't always going to have the fastest possible Pokemon. It's not like competitive where there's like Scarf, fucking Dragapult, and Booster Valiant, and all this crap running around. That's not how this works. It's a ROM hack, right? However, yeah, tons of other good moves. So Cecil's Edge, I keep on Pokemon with actual like blades, especially if I can see those like blades like falling off or like chipping pieces off. Like a sword can, you know, metal, it can hit things and leave behind little spikes. Same, you know, with like King Gambit and Seviper and all those other mons that I gave the move to. Excalibur, you know, all these guys, I can see them slashing and then having pieces fall off. That's the flavor limitation for Cecil's Edge for me. For example, Sceptile won't have it. That's just one example of a sharpness mon that won't get it because it just doesn't make sense. Because like what's falling? I mean, he's made of grass. It's, you know, it's not any actual physical blade. It's just super sharp grass. So anyway, you know, a decent amount of the sharpness guys or sharpness adjacent guys. In this case, he's a sharpness adjacent, right? He doesn't actually have it, but he may as well in terms of like flavor. Yeah, that's super great. Roar even being like priority 1 PP, that's really nice for like shuffling a matchup on a lead if you want to, versus, again, it's kind of risky inherently, but if you can prep for all 5 other mons that you're roaring in, then it's good. Because then it's like, okay, if I roll this in, I use this. If I roll this in, I use this. Then it's good if you have a bad matchup versus a lead or something and you want to get a kill off rip. So that's a useful utility move. Again, all these moves are even better with Move Relearner. Multi-hit moves are also great on this guy. You've got Fury Swipes and Icicle Spear, which are stab, and then you've got Pummel and Wallop, which are fighting and fairy coverage. And if you use those with loaded dice, you get a guaranteed 100 base power move that's also still boosted by Sword of Ruin. And of course, the fact that those are multi-hit means they bypass things like Sash. So that's another anti-sweeping, you know, anti-setup AI tool that is counteracted by this guy with loaded dice. Swiftness counteracts priority. Really, all you have to worry about at that point is Quick Claw, which you can somewhat counteract with Endure. So this guy, that's the main reason I was saying he's broken. And the reason he's actually ends up being kind of broken towards the league once you get, you know, level 100 Ruination for the end game is the fact that cheese is Quick Claw. That's what I was trying to allude to earlier with him being kind of technically broken even in this game's standards. Anything that can reliably like 6-0 or 5-0 whatever get a bunch of kills like pretty effortlessly, I would say is broken in a ROM hack context. And in this case he kind of could, although again that's depending on how good your speed IVs and nature is, specifically your speed nature is, because you're not guaranteed that plus speed. So if you get a plus speed Chien-Pao and you know you are smart enough to like take advantage of the new tools, you probably could get a couple. I mean, even it was Swiftness, you probably could solo at least a couple of the endgame bosses on paper. But that's just the nature of the Pokemon. I'm not really going to take away Ruination, and I don't like, because Ruination is just such a cool move, and it's just that it's so ass. I covered this more in the other in Wo-Chien's video, but I guess I can briefly touch on it now, is that the reason it's buffed in the way it is because it's an in-game context, right? So in doubles, for example, Rumination and Nature's Madness are pretty good, at least on the bulkier ones. But in game, there's so many better ways to make progress that you're never going to click that. It's just useless. You're not clicking that ever, especially on Chien-Pao. Definitely never clicking that shit on Chien-Pao. So making a priority in flinch is really good for specifically the slower ones like Wo-Chien and Ting-Lu. And as for these two, I mean, the faster ones, it is what it is. It's kind of broken on Chien-Pao. It's just the nature of the movement. I don't know. It's fine. They're legendaries. I'm okay with them being a little bit broken. Even by this ROM hex standards. But yeah, defensively this guy's still great. Again, super versatile, so even like Recover, Aurora Veil, Snow Warnings, Parting Shot stuff is great. Already covered the Charm stuff. Ice Spinner is great as well with Swiftness because Ice Spinner is now 60 base power and gives you +1 speed. So essentially you can outspeed, say for example I already showed you earlier, you're basically having 113 base speed as far as the AI is concerned, unless you get that lucky plus speed nature, right? So if you click Ice Spinner to finish something off, now you're actually outspeeding everything, and now you can actually kill all types of things. And you can even run bulk investment. Say you like chip something in the range. I mean, honestly, I might have to end up nerfing the speed boosting moves at some point. It's a future balance patch type of deal. We'll see how as time goes on how broken those end up being. Because with Movie Liner, I would say they definitely are a concern. We'll see how things get out. Maybe Endure might be the problem because Quick Claw, whatever. We'll have to see as time goes on. But yeah, as of right now, definitely pretty broken towards the end of the game. But you'll probably get him, I'd say, I guess in like the 50s, maybe 50. I'd say you would unlock the egg for him maybe like sometime between, yeah, I'd say sometime around 50, maybe at the 50 level cap you unlock them. I don't know for sure. That's all later down the line, but yeah, that's basically it. I mean, tons of nice coverage moves. Of course, with Scope Lens, moves like Aqua Cutter, Laceration, Psycho Cut, Shadow Claw, Night Slash, Jagged Edge, and Slash will all guaranteed crit with Scope Lens equipped. Triple Axle is, again, competitively brain players are probably freaking out. What the fuck, Triple Axle? Because they have no idea what Icebreaker is, or that Icicle Crash is actually a good move now. Which is understandable, but yeah, no, Triple Axle is probably your worst ice option. The only reason I would ever click that is with Wide Lens. I'm exaggerating it. It is definitely fast enough to abuse Wide Lens, and Loaded Dice Icicle Spear is only 100 base power guaranteed, while Triple Axle is 120 guaranteed, so it is stronger. However, the benefit of Loaded Dice is you get your other moves. You get your Dark, your Fairy, your Fighting. Meanwhile, Triple Axle Wide Lens, outside of Triple Axle, you have no other inaccurate moves that I can see. Yeah. Nope, every single one of these other moves is 100% accurate, so definitely more niche, but if you need specific damage ranges on a specific, like, sturdy Pokemon or multi-scale Pokemon, then go crazy with that Triple Axle, you know? But it's definitely, you know, competitive players probably losing their mind. I mean, Ceaseless Edge, Triple Axle, it's fucking Chien-Pao, bro, what the hell, yeah. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you made it to the end of the video. I'll be back for more videos coming up. I think I've covered pretty much everything I want to talk about. I guess Poison Fang, Thunder Fang. I mean, he's got swords for teeth. Then I was like, fuck it, I'll give him the other two fangs. Obviously, no Fire Fang, but he already had Psychic Fang, so I was like, fuck it, I'll give him the other two, even though I wouldn't say they're the most fitting. It's okay. The TM at the end of the day, you can kind of make reaches with TMs. Yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.